recipe required. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the YouTube channel. Today I'm going to break out a recipe I do pretty much every St. Patrick's Day, or at least around St. Patrick's Day, a Guinness braised short rib. Now, short ribs are one of my favorite things to cook. They're pretty cheap to buy, and when you cook them right, long and slow, braising like this, they turned out so tender and succulent and delicious. It's one of my all-time favorites. I'm sure it's going to be one of yours. To make this one a little St. Patrick's theme, instead of red wine, which is what I normally use to braise beef like this, I'm going to go ahead and use a full can of Guinness along with some chicken stock, some other veggies in there. We'll make it absolutely spectacular. There's lots of different twists and versions you can do on this, so focus on the techniques, learn how to do it, give it a try, and let me know how it goes. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so I've got a pan here over good high heat. I've got our short ribs, salt and pepper on all sides. And if the short ribs, there's typically a bone side and a top side that has a nice layer of fat in there. Get that side down first, and we're going to want to render that off, probably for about 5 or 6 minutes until it's nice and brown. Then we're going to flip it over and essentially get all the sides of the short rib nicely browned before we start adding in our other ingredients. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. You can see how nice and dark that short rib is getting. That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to flip all of these over and get the other side. Frank, I'm going to get all sides equally brown because that's where a ton of flavor in this recipe comes from. All right, so check it out. You can see how nicely browned all of our short ribs are. I'm just going to pull them off the heat, and then we're going to put in our veggies. If you got a little bit of fat in the pan, you can go ahead and drain that if you'd like. But I think a little bit in there is just fine. You know what? I am going to pull off just a touch of that. We'll drain this out. And then for veggies, I'm going to go onions in there, a few cloves of garlic, and then carrots that I chopped bigger than everything else. Because actually I want to serve these carrots along with my, or I may want to serve them along with my Guinness braised short ribs. I'm just going to let these cook down. It's going to help the pan sweat. I'll hit it with a good couple pinches of salt. And I'm just going to let them go for probably 3 or 4 minutes to start releasing some of those flavors. Then we're going to add our ribs right back. Alright, so my veggies have cooked down, so I'm going to nestle my short ribs right back in the pan. We're going to make some room in there for them. And then we're going to add our liquids. I am using, as I said, a Guinness for one part of it. Just pour it right over. You want to come maybe 1/5 of the way up. There we go. And then I'm going to cut that Guinness with some chicken stock. Cover kind of the rest of the way up. We're not going to sink the, we're not going to cover all the meat, just most of the way there. I've got a little bit of brown sugar, kind of like a heaping tablespoon there. A little bit of thyme, which we'll throw in there. Almost any herb is going to be good. And then we're going to just bring this up to a super light simmer, cover it, and let it go for about 2 hours until that meat is super, super tender. Alright, so after about 3 hours or so, your meat is super, super tender. Chances are the bone in the short rib is going to fall right off, and you got to be pretty darn gentle taking them off, or taking them out of the pot so they don't break up on you. Now you're going to have this nice piece of meat here, and this area right here is where the bone was attached. So what I do is I take this out, let it sit for just a minute to kind of settle a little bit, and then I slice kind of this piece right off the meat, so it's just a little cleaner, a little easier to eat. Alright, so let's go ahead and plate up our Guinness braised short rib. What I'm going to do is a little bit of potato on the bottom, and I like using a kind of a bowl for this one. Frankly, I've got our short rib here, which I've just let rest for a minute or two, and then I've got some Brussel sprouts, which I roasted off as well, and we'll just line our short rib with those. And then the best part, I think. So we've still got this sauce that came with our braising liquid. We're going to take some of that and just drizzle it right down in around those potatoes. Mixes all together. and it is going to be absolutely spectacular. Let's make sure we clean up our plate, and there we go. You can thicken up that sauce if you want to. You can put it in another pan and just kind of reduce it down, but I think it's just wonderful as is. I think you guys are going to love this, and I will see you next time on No Recipe Required. Alright, I had a blast making these Guinness braised short ribs. I hope you enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed making them and eating them. It's a perfect St. Patrick's Day recipe, but you know what? Go ahead and make them all year long. They're never going to disappoint, I guarantee it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm putting up new recipes every single week, and I'm sure you're going to find something you love. For the sides I served here, I put up links. My mashed potatoes, I got garlic mashed potatoes up in this series, all kinds of versions. You're going to love them. And these Brussels sprouts, I love roasting them. It's one of my favorite vegetables. Go ahead, check it out, and I will see you next time on No Recipe Required.